What's up? Welcome in on this Thursday, our go home show for the week. And the only job worse than being the cameraman in center field at Kauffman Stadium today is a cashier at a local Las Vegas Kohl's because they just got way busier. We'll talk about that. We've got debuts, dumbasses, wieners, all kinds of stuff we're going to get to on today's program, as well as some rapid fire where T gets to turn the table on me. Normally, I'm the guy that gets to spit out all the questions and put these guys on the hot seat, but we decided, you know what? In honor of it being our last show for the week, T being able to rock the home studio today on a Thursday show, lunchtime live, which is a rarity, we're going to change it up a little bit. So we're going to talk some rapid fire, take you all over the sports world. We're also obviously going to talk about the two elephants in the room, the two national semifinal games in Indianapolis. We've got some liquid locks, and we told you on last night's program that Dollar Dingers will be back tomorrow. Blindly, we've made our picks. We've got our Crossing Streams play in action right now as Cole Reagan's on the bump for the Royals. So we'll keep you up to date on that. Feel free to comment along if you're watching along. Follow us on all of our social channels at Mike Arana Show, everywhere but Snapchat for the noobs. T, why are we not on Snapchat?
Because we're not 12 and Snapchat sucks. That's why.
Not 12 and Snapchat sucks. Almost as old as Connor Griffin, who got called up by the Pirates today.
I'm sure Connor Griffin's Snapchat is going bananas right now.
Connor Griffin's Snapchat is probably going bananas right now. Make sure you sign up for the newsletter, MikeAranaShow.com/links. I've told you a few times. It comes out every Tuesday, once a week. We're not smart enough to spam you, so there's no spam. There's some betting nuggets there. The Keystone Cops and Minnesota's up 1-0, which was great for my live Royals -1.5 bet. What the absolute F was that? We only have 3 games today. They've already postponed the home opener for the Pale Hose against Toronto. That was postponed actually last night. So you've got a docket today of Twins and Royals in a windstorm. Braves and Diamondbacks, which I won't be able to watch despite being 35 minutes away from the ballpark. And the Metropolitans coming fresh off of their ass beating from the St. Louis Cardinals. That still doesn't sound right to say. They are in San Francisco to take on the offense impotent Giants, and Casey Schmidt, who can't catch balls at first base, might get his ass kicked by Matt Chapman. So everything's fine and dandy in San Francisco. There's been a couple of headlines, T, that have popped across today that were kind of interesting. We're going to start with the biggest one. Why is Cole's cash now a currency of high demand in Las Vegas? Because Kirk Cousins is officially a Las Vegas Raider. Now, I seem to remember, about a month ago, there's this really cool new sports show that I watch every now and then, and I believe Rich Gannon 2.0, and is there a better mentor to be a professional quarterback for Fernando Mendoza than Kirk Cousins, was what the very good-looking guys on the show said. And now Kirk Cousins is a Raider. It is a 5-year deal, but you got to read between the lines because so in baseball, we have the 7-year, $190 million deal for your young superstars, your Bobby Witts, your Corbin Carrolls, Colt Emerson, I think, just signed one with the Mariners, which is interesting because he hasn't even played for the Mariners yet. Yeah. And now the new deal in the NFL is this 5-year deal that basically is essentially a 1-year deal, but it looks really great on paper, but it's really just a 1-year deal. Kirk Cousins, part of your Raider Nation. What do you think?
It's a great move. I mean, like, we all know what they're going to do with the first pick now. Clint Kubiak pretty much let the cat out of the bag. And if they pick Carson Beck, I will lose my absolute shit. But we all know what they're going to do with the first pick. So now you bring somebody in who is a pro, who knows how to prepare as a pro, who knows how to play the game as a pro, and who can mentor Mendoza while Mendoza holds the clipboard for as long as he can until he's ready to go. I think this is a fantastic move. I hate to say this. I hate to jinx it, Mike, but this team might actually have a plan now, and I don't know what to do. I don't know. I don't know. I'm kind of frightened right now.
I have been all over this Raider team and all over this Clint Kubiak regime and the coaching staff that he's put together. Obviously, Max Crosby's back in the fold. The 37-year-old will join the Raiders. It's complicated, so we'll give you the complicated part here, and you can sift through it however you want. Cousins' agent announced the deal, which will pay the four-time Pro Bowler $20 million in guaranteed money in 2026. The deal also includes a club option for 2 years at $80 million and could be worth up to $172 million over 5 years, the sources told Adam Schefter, although only the $20 million this year is fully guaranteed. Kubiak and general manager John Spytek were among those in attendance Wednesday to scout Mendoza at Indiana's Pro Day. Talk about spending money you don't need. What do you need to know? You already know you're going to pick the guy. What are you telling him? Hey, stay away from here. Stay away from here. The Orleans is a great place. Check out Circa. Like, what are you at his pro day for? Like, I get you got to do your due diligence, but what do we not know about Fernando Mendoza at this point? And is there anybody more opposite is there a more opposite quarterback room for Raider Nation than Kirk Cousins and Fernando Mendoza? Talk about two guys that don't fit the mold for what we're used to seeing, and that's a good thing because, like you just said, they might actually have a friggin' plan.
No, I think this. I get it because you're like, look at the two of them. You're like, what? And Mendoza's pro day, from everything that I've read, was freaking amazing, which is great news for Las Vegas. But you need. We've seen what happens in the past when teams decide, you know what, our rookie's getting the ball in week one, he can go figure it out. And you get kind of a mixed bag there. I remember Peyton Manning got the ball week one for Indianapolis. They went 3-13. They looked absolutely awful. But Peyton Manning was he was almost polished and ready to go out of Tennessee. He still needed to grow up a little bit, but he figured it out very quickly. And then on the other side, you got the guy picked after him who didn't do a whole lot of diddly poo in the league. So you got to have a support system for him. I love this for Vegas. I think this is great. And I don't think Kirk Cousins sees 5 years out of this. I think he's lucky to see 2. But let's say he sees 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Is it worth $80 million to pay Kirk Cousins for 12 years of Fernando Mendoza at a high level? I think it is.
Yeah, and think back to Aaron Rodgers. How long did Aaron Rodgers sit? 3 years. So you've got that exact kind of scenario there. I am going to show this again because you got Roz is literally checking in from about 35 feet away from me right now. This is impressive stuff. Shout out, you got Roz.
I do like that. I liked it a lot.
You do like that. If you're a Raider fan, you got to love what's going on here. You've got Cousins, you've got Andrew Giannacco, and assistant head coach Mike McCoy, who have also worked with Clint Kubiak before. And that was the thing I said about Clint Kubiak, is everybody's like, oh, he's just another guy that the Raiders are bringing in. No, this dude's connected. This dude is connected all over the league. He brought in a great coaching staff. We saw, and I mentioned when they brought in Rennell Williams, who left the Eagles to join the Raiders, that his relationship with Nakobe Dean and Nakobe Dean's development was key. What did they do? They brought over Nakobe Dean and Clay Walker. I mean, this team, and I know the division, and we talk about this all the time. I think we're all assuming that Kansas City is going to be a factor because they are going to get Patrick Mahomes back fully healthy at some point. They've signed Kenny Walker, and the Chiefs are always a factor. We know Denver is a factor. We know that division, if the Raiders can step up to the table and show up to play, I think this is a team that can go 9-8 next year. And that would be freaking fantastic progress in year one of a new regime for a team that's had seemingly no direction for the last decade.
If they finish 6-11, that's going to be fantastic. As long as they're competitive, right? Like last year, they were for the most part not competitive. If they can make progress, it's going to be slow. Like it's going to be. They're not making the playoffs next year. They're just not. Sorry, they're probably not making the playoffs in 27 either. The earliest is going to be 28. So you got to be in it for the long haul here. And the way that this staff is making decisions here, it looks like they're in it for the long haul. And that's good news for the Raiders.
Yeah, and the other thing people forget about this, and why you could have seen the writing on the wall a month ago, like we did, is because this is not the first time that Cousins and Kubiak will be working
Mm-hmm.
together. As Kubiak was the quarterback coach and the offensive coordinator with the Vikings from 2019 to 2021. Who knows? Maybe they can rue Justin Jefferson to the silver and black if he continues to remain unhappy and play with. You want to talk about a shit group of quarterbacks? What Justin Jefferson's dealing with right now. So
Yeah,
big
and
move for the Raiders there.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, this is going to be one of those seasons where I could see, look, they're not going to be making the playoffs. They're 6-10 going in the last week, and I could see him turn the ball over to Mendoza in that last week, saying, "Okay, let's see what you got there. Let's see what
Yeah,
you've learned." Um,
yeah, absolutely.
but but I'm very excited. I've been asking for this move for a month, like you said. I think it's a great move for the Raiders, and yeah, I like that a lot. I like it.
Yeah, you did like it because you text both of us at 6:58 this morning with a dancing Kirk Cousins emoji. Cole Reagan's watch right now. Why? Because of crossing streams. He's at 3 of the 6 necessary strikeouts for Vegas Max pick that he went with. TJ went with 2 points from a kid that continues to wow in the National Hockey League yet again last night. Macklin Celebrini and the Sharks do something that I just like. I sent you this text, and it's ironic because it was a year ago, I believe today,
Mm-hmm.
when we saw Macklin Celebrini and the Sharks play the Ducks at the Pond. And one of the coolest things I think I'm ever going to be able to say in my life, assuming that, and maybe he can't duplicate this next year. I mean, obviously, the more he's in the league, the more people are going to see that. But we're talking about maybe he can't duplicate a runner-up finish for the Hart Trophy in his second friggin' year. This stat blew my mind last night. And if you missed it last night, the Sharks came from behind with 2 goals in the final 2 minutes. Macklin Celebrini had one of them. Point Palooza for him. If you went with the 2 points and the over 6.5, you were a very happy man in the last 2 minutes last night, speaking for somebody I know. Michael Amato on X this morning. The Sharks are 1-16-3 this year in games where Macklin Celebrini does not record a point. I don't think I've ever seen a player carry a team the way he has. If the Sharks get in, and we talked about this a few weeks ago, if somehow, some way the Sharks get into the playoffs, he's got a hell of a case for the Hart Trophy. I don't think he's going to get it. But I would be very compelled to see how he finishes in that race if this team finds a way into the playoffs.
Give it to him. Give it to him now. Give it to him now. I'm all in. I'm all in on it. If he gets 10 more points, he ties the franchise record for points in a season. He's what I don't see any reason why he won't do that. I'm all in. He would get my Hart Trophy vote today if I had one. Like
Sharks back in action tonight against the Maple Leafs. TJ's pick in crossing streams. How about 2 more points from the kid tonight? Why not?
Why not? What this team is doing, or what he is doing with this team, is incredible. I love the chemistry that him and the Fresh Prince are building together. And this team is nothing. The future is nothing but bright for these guys. They're young. They don't have muscle memory. They're screwing up. They're winning games. I love it.
Yeah, Will Smith's been on an absolute friggin' heater right now as well. So, I mean, again, those two amongst a plethora of other extremely talented young players that the Sharks have. And Mike Greer, I mean, if he's not executive of the year this year, regardless of what happens to the Sharks in their postseason opportunity, if you will, but they're in action again tonight off of that emotional win last night. It is killing me, dude. A week from today, they are right down the street from you. And I'm like, I will freaking walk if I have. No, I won't. I fell out of a chair the other day. I can barely walk to my fridge right now. But just if you haven't watched him, I know the Sharks are not a team that is appointment television, but they're getting real damn close because of what he's doing, and it's ridiculous. Speaking of youngsters, did you see that we're going to get a Major League debut tomorrow in a home opener tomorrow for the Pittsburgh Pirates? Connor Griffin called up by the Pirates today to get into the lineup. This Connor Griffin on the cover of the newest edition of Baseball America's Prospect Handbook. You can see the other two up there, as well as a new addition to the studio that was brought back to me from the trip to Detroit. I drank beer out of that bat. Obviously, that's not shocking to anybody. But Connor Griffin will make his home debut tomorrow, his major league debut in the home opener for the Pirates with Mitch Keller on the bump against Kyle Bradish and the Baltimore Orioles. And this is, and again, we're talking about young players that not a lot of people know a whole lot about. This will put it into perspective for you. And the great Sarah Lang, Slangs on Sports on X, the first teenage position player in an MLB game since 2018 Juan Soto, the first teenage position player in a game within his team's, I can't speak today, within his team's first 7 games, you illiterate dipshit, of a season since 1999, and Adrian Beltre. He is the youngest at 19 years, 344 days position player in a game within his team's first 7 games of a season since Andrew Jones in 1997. I'm bullish on this Pirates team, and I know Mac doesn't think that Paul Skeens is going to be the best pitcher on the Pirates staff this year. This is a great point here because I know Nick Gonzalez cannot be very happy about this development, but exciting time for the Pirates. The problem is Bob Nutting still owns the Pirates, so we don't know how any of this is really going to work out.
No, well, and the kid has to play some games, right? And for everybody who's expecting him to be the second coming of, whomever, just cool your jets a little bit. Let this kid get settled. Let him see some pitching, like real pitching, not spring training pitching, and let's see what happens. We often see young players that come up, get off to a hot start. Everybody starts, losing their shit over him, and then all of a sudden he falls off the planet, and before you know it, you're back in AAA. So let's let this guy get settled. Let's watch him for a while. Let's give him about 2 weeks, and then we'll talk about how great he is.
See Jack Caglione last year with the Royals, exactly. And tomorrow is opening day, part 19 for Major League Baseball, and their idiotic scheduling. Plenty of teams getting their home openers tomorrow. The Nats, the Tigers, I want to talk about a team that's leaking friggin' oil right now. The Yanks, the Red Sox, the White Sox, maybe, supposed to be today. The Rangers, the Guardians, the Twins, the Rockies, the Piratas, and Coors Field of California back in action tomorrow as the Trash Can Stros are in Sacramento at Sutter Health Park to take on the Sacramento Nomads, and a home opener right down the street from you for the team that I think is going to lead the majors in home runs this year, the Los Angeles Angels.
And my guy, once he gets going, he's going to be streaky. Him and Will Ferrell, man, gonna go streaking. So I'm excited to see what happens tomorrow. I will be across the street, but there is a chance I may be there on Saturday. We'll find out.
Ooh. Across the street. Who are they playing tomorrow night? The Ducks.
The Ducks have the St. Louis Blues, who are hanging by a thread in the playoff race.
Yeah, absolutely. We talked about it a little bit yesterday. I love that we get to do this, how we do it, and being full into it now has been great. I'm very fortunate. The team that we have put together is awesome. The only day I hate working in this space is on April 1st because of all the idiocy and the childish behavior, and everybody wants their this, that, and the other thing. Well, just when I thought April Fools couldn't get any worse, the Washington Wizards, and I'm going to try and find them on the standings if my mouse can go down that far. The 17-59 Washington Wizards decided they wanted to get in on the action last night. And today it resulted in an apology because it was a bit scripted, and we apologize for last night's April Fool's joke that left many wondering if we had misled a fan. The skit involving our mascot and other members of the performance team was scripted and intended to celebrate the day. Since when do we have to celebrate April Fool's Day, you dopes? If you missed it last night, they blindfolded a fan, tricked him into believing he made a half-court shot, and won $10,000. I get jokes are jokes, but there's certain ways that you can go way too far, and my question would be, Why would you trick anybody that voluntarily paid to watch your sorry asses play basketball or something that we can kind of call basketball? Like, what are we doing in Washington? Talk about teams that are idiotically run. I give you the Washington Wizards.
I'm surprised that I'm looking at a screenshot from this game right now, and I'm surprised that anybody is there, period. Like, this, to say that they missed the mark is probably the understatement of the year. So they've missed the mark the entire. They've probably missed the mark for the entire decade of the 2020s at this point. There's this April 1st. First of all, is a complete fraud to begin with, because you have all these people who think they can be jokey joke makers, and it's like, oh, I get to pull one over on somebody. No, you don't, because this whole thing is such a farce. And then you have this happen. If I was that fan, I wouldn't go to any more Wizards games ever, not until they change their name back to the Bullets.
If you were that fan, I'd be demanding season tickets because, I mean, I can't imagine they cost that much. Shockingly, the Wizards put up another hell of a defensive performance last night in that game, losing to the Sixers 153 to 131. Like, I'm over it, dude. Like, are we seriously that childish that we celebrate a day for fools? Never mind, I think I just answered my own question. Speaking of interesting things, we talked about the Blue Jays and how they got rocked by the Rock Bottoms in losing 2 or 3 games to Colorado. Well, they have a promotion in Toronto that I would be all over.
I love this.
Looney Dogs Night returned to Rogers Center on Tuesday for the first time this season, and it was a certified gala of glizzy gluttony as fans scarfed down 90,708 hot dogs on Looney Dog Night. Over 90,000 wieners to watch your team play like a bunch of wieners and lose to the Rockies. And they didn't just lose to the Rockies. They lost 2-1 yesterday. They got their asses handed to them the day before. Not a great start for the Blue Jays this year.
No, and that's my pick. That's my team this year. And that was not good. But, at least the fans went home gluttonous, and they probably had the meat sweats.
That is a ratio for you math wizards, even with the Canadian exchange rate, of 2.3 hot dogs per person. Now, that was the one game that they did win in the series against the Rockies. At an average length of 15 centimeters, the thousands of Schneider's Looney Dogs consumed would stretch into an unbroken 13.6 kilometer tube of processed meat, covering the distance from Toronto's Union Station to the Scarborough Bluffs. That comes courtesy of our friends at Blog TO and Jack Landau. That's a lot of wieners, T.
Having run a half marathon race in Toronto before, I can totally see how long, I can visualize how long that tube of meat would be. And it is freaking impressive to get it from Union Station to Scarborough. However, this team better stop playing like a bunch of wieners, and they better start hitting the ball and catching the ball like I know that they can, because I don't want to fill his head more than it already is, but Max Boston Red Sox are going to be a tough out this year. And so the Jays need to do everything they can to win that division.
They haven't been a tough out so far at 1-5 when they open at home tomorrow. Michael King and Sonny Gray from Fenway Park. Tickets as low as $137. Shout out Vegas Mac there. Dylan Cease, who is 0-0 with a 1.69 ERA, speaking of the Blue Jays. And I said, like, not the greatest start for the Blue Jays. They are 4-2, but they're not doing it in the typical ways that we would expect the Blue Jays to do. Again, it's easy to overreact early in baseball season to a lot of stuff. The only thing I can confirm is that I might be off on my Giants prediction of 81-81. That might be about 7 wins too many for the Giants, but we'll see how that goes as we move forward. All right, we talked about it. We promised it. We play a lot of games on this show. We do a lot of different things. Normally, I put the guys on the spot and we play rapid fire, but there's so many things going on in the sports world right now. We talked about it last night. April is loaded as far as everything that's coming up on the sports calendar. We've got the Masters, obviously the Final Four National Championship game this weekend. We're getting into the ongoing of the beginning of baseball season, which is idiotically scheduled. I don't have enough time to go back into that today or for the rest of my life because I feel like we can have that conversation over and over. We've got the NBA playoffs, we've got the Stanley Cup playoffs, a lot of shit going on.
Mm-hmm.
So we decided we're going to let T turn the tables on me today and go a little rapid fire here and cover pretty much everything in sports that makes you go, Take it away, sir.
All right. Well, we're going to start off with a fastball for you because I know you like them grooved right down the middle. And I'm going to wait till you're done taking a drink there because I don't want you to lose it.
I appreciate that.
But we'll start off with a fastball. Who has better drivers, Tiger Woods or the University of Georgia football team?
Oh, and now I know why you told me to make sure I wasn't taking a drink. Better drivers, Tiger Woods or the University of Georgia football players? That's a toss-up, actually. That's a toss-up.
I keep visualizing this diagram that the number changes where at the University of Georgia football practice facility, and it's like at 4 days since a player has been caught on a moving violation, and then like coach has to go out there and like, oh shit, 0, and he has to turn it back to 0. But what Tiger Woods did with his SUV the other day was quite impressive. I'm not going to lie.
Here's my thing with it, and I was talking to a couple people about this. You're Tiger friggin' Woods, man. Hire a driver.
Right?
What are we doing?
Like, why are you even dicking around? You have more money than everybody probably except Michael Jordan from the sports world. What are you doing?
Yeah, and it's not just Tiger. I mean, we see it all the time with athletes. Like, dude, you're making millions. Mm-hmm. What does it cost you to pay a driver $75,000 a year if you're being generous to just haul you around wherever you want to go? How is that not seen as a necessary expense? Like, especially in this day and age, dude, like, what are you doing? It just doesn't make any sense to me at all.
Is it worth 75? Let's even be generous. Let's make it 150. Is it worth $150,000 if you're Tiger Woods to avoid crap like we've seen for the last week? I think it is.
Mm-hmm. And Tiger will actually, obviously now, sit out the Masters. He is seeking treatment, so obviously, I hope he can get right here.
Same.
Because Tiger Woods is too important to the growth of golf, which, since he's commenting on his Cole Reagans thing right now, I do want to check the leaderboard in San Antonio. I was out to the lead with Will Zalatoris. He's come back to the pack a little bit. We've got an interesting one. I'm actually in this one, and nobody looks right now like they're going to miss the cut. So we'll see what happens there. All right, what else you got for me?
Okay, so back to the NBA. We were talking last night about the Charlotte Hornets, the Portland Trailblazers, and the perpetual play-in participant Miami Heat. Is it good? I looked at the standings on Sunday and I saw all the X's and I saw all the E's on the display. Is it good that the NBA, that the playoff participants, all 20 of them, have already been decided?
No, I think it's a horrible look for the league, and it's something that we've talked about all year. And I'll use personal example as just one of the many examples I could use here. The Warriors with the Steph Curry injury. The Warriors were pretty much destined for the play-in tournament and have been for about a month now because the bottom part of the Western Conference, let's update this, my favorite thing to update, lost 5 in a row, lost 2 in a row, lost 2 in a row, lost 7 in a row, actually won 1 in a row. How the hell did the Sacramento Kings win a game? In their last 10 games, the bottom 5 in the West, 4-6, 2-8, 2-8, 1-9, 4-6. If you go to the Eastern Conference, your bottom 5, the already eliminated teams, 3-7, 2-8, 3-7, 1-9, 1-9. If that doesn't show you how bad this problem is in the NBA, it's absolutely ridiculous. And again, another reason why the play-in tournament is completely friggin' useless, because it sets this up. Now we have, and there really aren't any exciting races either, if we look a little bit deeper into this. The Sixers and the Raptors, both dead even record. The Sixers have the tiebreaker, so they would be 6 right now. The Raptors would be in the play-in tournament. When you look at the other side in the West, your most compelling matchup or race, if you will, is the race between Denver and LA for the 3 seed, and the race between Portland and the Clippers for the 8-9 seed debacle. It is a terrible look for the NBA that we have all these meaningless games down the stretch here in a time on the sports calendar where there is plenty of other options for you to watch. Mm-hmm. On top of that, we go into the fact that we know the NBA playoffs in the first round seemingly don't end until like freaking Father's Day, it feels like half the time. It's a terrible look for the league. And if you flip it over to what's going on in the NHL right now, we've got a lot of shit still to be decided there, and it's making these games at the end of the year really, really important. Bobby Witt just struck out with 2 runners on, damn it. But yeah, it's a terrible look for the NBA. It's an absolutely horrible look for the NBA.
I completely agree with you. I know that the positioning hasn't all been decided, but the fact that I know that who's in and who's out is not. I agree. It's not a good look.
No, it's absolutely terrible. Feel free to comment along if you're watching along. Rapid fire moves like that, rapid fire. But you got something to say? Drop it in there. Like our guy Shy last night was all over the place last night.
I got one for you from the NFL. So the Raiders signed Kirk Cousins. We all know who the first pick in the NFL draft is going to be. Who will be number 2?
That's a really, really interesting one because, like, I can see a lot of different options there at 2. And because the Jets are picking 2, we really don't have an idea of how they're going to possibly screw this up. Mm-hmm. I think it makes the most sense for the multiple needs of the Jets. What do we know as far as NFL teams go? Edge rushers are an absolute premium. So yes. I think it would be foolish of the Jets to not go and take Arvell Reese. I could see them taking David Bailey, but in every mock draft you kind of see, it looks like the thought process is that Arvell Reese has a little more upside than David Bailey, but I don't think you could go wrong either way. All that being said, I can see the Jets taking Francis Moaga from Miami, the offensive tackle, because it's the Jets. So yeah, I think it should be Reese. That makes the most sense, but it's the Jets, so who the hell knows?
Yeah, exactly. I have no idea how they're going to screw it up. And just a follow-up on that, how far do you think Love's going to fall in this draft? Do you think he falls out of the top 10?
I think if he falls out of the top 10, that is absolute negligence by several teams. I saw one mock draft that actually has the Giants taking him at 5th, which that would be a really interesting running back combo with Scat and Jeremiah Love. I mean, you go back to like the Thunder and Lightning days of the Giants running back room. We know they're going to play tough physical football because of their new head coach and John Harbaugh. I think it's ridiculous if he falls out of the top 10. You want to hear something that'll terrify you, and this should terrify anybody that's looking at mock drafts right now. Not the first time I've seen this. Kansas City at 9, who we originally thought that was a fleece job if Love was still there for them. I don't think he would be, and obviously now they don't need him. But Kenyon Sadiq being a part of that Chiefs offense, the tight end from Oregon who's got wide receiver freaking speed, that is terrifying if you're anybody in the AFC West or in the AFC in general.
I completely agree with you there. I don't think Love's going to get past 10, though. I just think somebody's going to grab him just because of his athleticism and his versatility. I think somebody's going to try and grab him.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to go to hockey now. Over under 8.5 number of regular season games John Tortorella will coach with the Vegas Golden Knights. 8.5.
I see what you did there.
And keep in mind, he's got 8 this season.
Yeah, I know exactly what you did there. Yeah, and it was interesting because usually when you fire a coach and you bring in a new coach, it's instantly a long-term deal, and it was not the case with Torts in Vegas. I don't know, because I don't know, like, let's use Mitch Marner for an example. You know, he signs with Vegas, he comes over. I don't know if Mitch Marner signs with Vegas if John Tortorella is the coach when he's a free agent. Torts rubs a lot of people the wrong way. That being said, if Torts can get this team to actually play good hockey and get out of the funk that they've been in all year, which I don't think is going to happen, I can very much see them doing that. I would say it's over 8.5, but the caveat I'm going to put on that is Tortorella might not want to coach them past this playoff run. I think that might be why he doesn't, but I think if it's up to the Knights, Torts is back next year.
I think so too, but I think one of the problems with Vegas right now, and it's worked in the past, is this is what happens when you try to assemble an all-star team,
Mm-hmm.
is that you have players in roles that just don't work out. Like Zach Whitecloud was a huge part of that defense. They shipped him to Calgary for Rasmus Anderson, who was probably the number one free agent or number one trade deadline target in the league. And that hasn't really worked out as well as they thought. And Zach Whitecloud is going to be fantastic in Calgary. So there's always a room for role players. And Vegas is going to have a hard time because, yes, the cap's going up, but you got Marner, you got Eichel, you've got Hurdle, you've got all these players with big Hannafin, all these players with big tickets. How are they all going to fit? I don't think Torts is back next year. I really don't. I think they're going to try and find someone else to try and coach this all-star team.
Well, and it's important too because, you know, and again, I don't subscribe to this theory because I have a different take on the Pacific Division, and no, it's not because I am a Sharks fan. I think the Pacific Division is going to be incredibly compelling, especially over the next handful of years, because, you know, you've got the two bottom feeders in Anaheim and San Jose that are really on the upswing there. We know, as you just mentioned, the all-star team that Vegas will always seemingly have assembled. Edmonton, we can make our jokes, but as long as 97 and 29 are on that team, they're still going to be damn good. And I don't think any of us anticipate the Kings, even though they've got work to do, to just fall off the face of the earth. So the hire for Vegas is extremely important because that might be one of the more competitive divisions in all of hockey over the next handful of years. Nobody's going to touch the Central right now because it is what it is, and they're head and shoulders above everybody. But that hire for Vegas is very important because that division race, it might be the most competitive, and it might be the most wide open one because of what the Sharks and Ducks specifically have been able to do.
I completely agree with you. All right, I'm going to go to baseball. And in light of the news that was made earlier today, and we're going to take my team off the table, are the Pittsburgh Pirates the most unserious franchise in baseball?
Oh, the most unserious franchise in baseball.
Not including the Orange County team.
Dude, I could give you a non-serious team in baseball in every single freaking division, dude. As I'm looking down this list right now. The Rockies, the Pirates, the Nationals, the Nomads, the White Sox, and the AL East. I mean, I think everybody in the AL East is pretty serious. That's a competitive division, but yeah, I don't know, dude. That's a good question.
I'm willing to take the Rockies off that list for right now, just because they've been playing well above the bar for the Rockies. The
Rockies are only 2 games behind the Dodgers, man.
Well, plan the parade. I mean, Blake Street Bombers, right?
Yeah.
But
I'm not going to talk about who's last in that division because we don't want to.
No. I don't know what the answer is to that, because the Pirates, for every 2 things that they do right, they do 4 things wrong. And the severing of the relationship with Lawrence McCutcheon, I think, is a huge deal. And I think that the Pirates should have done everything they could to have him back in that clubhouse, because I think he's that important, especially to it. He wanted to, he was there during the lean times. And when they started to get kind of good, he was there. He was the face of the franchise. And I think losing him and letting him go to Texas was just, I think that was just a bad step.
Well, and the thing is, you replace one of the most beloved guys in baseball in Kutch with one of the most hated guys in baseball in Marcelo Ozuna, too. Like, you couldn't have done that any worse than they did it, but that's the Pirates.
All right, I'm going to give you, I'll wrap it up here with kind of a fun one. I want you to think of your favorite San Francisco Giant player, we'll say over the last 5 years. Would you buy a $75 refillable cup similar to the Ohtani Cup of your favorite Giants player?
How many years do I get to go back on this?
You can go back 5 years.
So that would be Brandon Crawford, and hell no would I pay $75 for a Brandon Crawford cup. Dude, like, what they're doing, I've seen some of the prices that the Dodgers are rolling out right now, and it's like, you talk about this a lot. Course corrections and things. Like, to go in and sit in the bleeds in the world's largest outdoor toilet, which is known as Dodger Stadium, and to like buy 2 tickets, 2 dogs, and 2 beers, and you're paying like $700. Like, no, dude. Like, you can. It's just, it's asinine. And again, it's like we talk about the NFL and the multi-streaming stuff and this, that, and the other thing, and like people still buying it, you're still gonna sell it. But like, dude, like $75 because it's a Jersey cup, if you will, of Otani. It's just got his name and number on it. Like, no, absolutely not. I wouldn't pay $15 for a Brandon Crawford souvenir cup. Will Clark, I might think about it, but it's still not $75.
No, I think props to the Dodgers for trying to fleece people for everything that they can, but I don't think this ultimately it's the fans who get hurt. I live in a market where there's 20 million people here and only a third of them can watch the Dodgers because they don't have the right cable network. Like, that's kind of a problem. And then you do crap like this. Like, it cost me, we went to a Dodger game last year, and for 3 tickets, 6th row from the top was $225. So, like, no. Eat it, LA. Eat it. I have more queued up, but I can stop there.
No, we got a couple more minutes. We can do a couple more of these before we get into the Final Four. Oh my God, there is an actual Sasquatch walking around the K right now. That is horrifying. What the hell?
All right, we'll stick to baseball. Give me the best story of the first week of the MLB season. The best story.
I think it's twofold for me. The best story of the early part of the season, I think the play of several rookies right out of the gates has been really, really cool to see, like the Sal Stewarts, the Chase DeLauders. Hopefully Connor Griffin can add his name to that list. But we've seen a lot of good play out of the rookies. But this will be a very unpopular choice. I think the best story of the early part of the season is the Yankees at 5-1. Not because it's like, oh my God, the Yankees are off to a great start. How the hell did they do that? Well, we know how they did it. They've got one of the top 3 payrolls in baseball, but we talk about this all the time. Villains in sports are great. We know the Dodgers are the ultimate sports villain right now, and I think the Yankees off to an incredibly hot start, a plus 18 run differential. They went into Seattle and handled business like they typically do up there, and their pitching staff has been ridiculously good. I mean, we're talking about one of the top 10 starts from a pitching staff through the first 6 games of the season in like the history of baseball. I think going into yesterday's game, if I remember seeing it right, their team ERA was like an 0.67. Now, when you play the Giants, who are offensively dysfunctioned, that always helps your pitching staff. But I mean, if they get that out of their pitching staff, I will say this, and I got this text yesterday watching them against the Mariners from a couple Yankee fans. The David Bednar thing's going to be interesting to watch because I don't know if a full season of David Bednar in New York is going to be the best thing for David Bednar and the best thing for Yankees fans who have a quick short fuse anyways.
Yep.
But I think the start from the Yankees is great. The Marlins 5-1 start. They're 5-1. I get it. Who in the hell have they played? You can answer the own question there, but I think we need the Yankees to be good. We need the Dodgers to be good. We need the Lakers to be good. Like, we need the Cowboys to be good. Not holding out hope for that until Jerry's not running the franchise anymore. But we need the villains in sports. A 5-1 start for the Yanks and kicking everybody's ass to start the season is a good thing.
I think you're right. I think sports are better when teams like hockey. Hockey's better when the Rangers are good. Hockey is better when the Habs are good. Hockey's even better when the Leafs are good. But it's in baseball, the Yankees, the Giants, Dodgers, when all those teams are good, baseball is fun. And yes, you need the villain. And I hope the Yankees win 116 games and then lose in the first round of the playoffs.
Cole Reagan's update here before you give me the next one. He is at 5 strikeouts, so we need one more out of Cole to cross the first stream of our play from last night.
All right. Speaking of my favorite basketball team to rip on, the Lakers win the NBA Finals if fill in the blank.
I can turn my damn microphone back on. The Lakers win the NBA Finals if
15 other teams don't show up.
I almost said something that was not cool to say, so I'm not going to say that. The Lakers win the NBA Finals if Cade Cunningham doesn't come back, SGA gets hurt, Victor Wembanyama gets hurt, Aaron Gordon doesn't play for the Nuggets, and Jaylen Brown doesn't play for the Celtics.
Holy smokes.
Slim fat none. I still think they're a one and done team. I know they're playing great basketball right now. They've done it on the defensive side, which has helped in their run. But Mac brought up this point a couple of weeks ago, and I think it's about as true as you can get. We know LeBron, maybe he'll be a Clipper now, based on the story we saw the other day after the year's over, if the Kawhi contract gets voided. And of course, that's important to talk about right now. I think because of where LeBron's at in his career, and I don't think he's retiring after this year. I don't think he's a Laker next year, but you've only got one ball, and you've got two $54 million defensive liabilities. And I think when it gets into the postseason, it's a good point here too, speaking of the Cowboys we were just talking about. When you get to this point in the season, it doesn't work. It's not going to work because you've got two guys that want to take the game over and are fully capable, and LeBron is still fully capable of taking a game over. There's only one basketball, and neither one of those guys can spell the word defense. It's a bad mix for the postseason.
I don't think teams are going to score 153 points in the postseason. They're just not. It's you have to get stops occasionally. And I agree with you. I don't think the Lakers are equipped to do that. You got plenty of guys who can shoot the rock, but nobody to stop it, and that's bad news. You want one
last
more?
one. Yeah, last one.
Okay. The Frozen Four is in Vegas next week. You got Michigan, you got Denver, you got Wisconsin, and you got North Dakota. So the upper Midwest is very well represented. And the Rocky Mountains, the Denver Pioneers, who are almost a bloody dynasty in college hockey, for those of you who don't know. Will T-Mobile Arena have enough beer for all of these fans coming from Wisconsin and North Dakota? Or do they, God forbid, run out?
That is one hell of a beer drinking Frozen Four right there. That is the coup de grace, if you will, of beer drinkers in the Frozen Four. I didn't know it was in Vegas. That's kind of cool. Because it's Vegas, there's never going to be a shortage of beer. But I would venture to guess that T-Mobile Arena might not be fully prepared for what they're about to get hit with. Like they're not as equipped to handle an onslaught of wieners like the Rogers Center might be right now in Looney Dog promotions. I would love to see the total beer count consumed within T-Mobile Arena. If somebody can stat that, that would be incredible shit. That's an awesome place to have the Frozen Four. Has it ever been in Vegas?
No, and I have no doubt there's a place right when you walk out the New York, you go to the left, and there's this place called the Beer House. I have no doubt that they will run out of beer because that is going to be just a absolute circus. And I'm here for all of it. I can't wait to watch these games. This is going to be a fantastic Frozen Four. That's all I got.
We're going to have to do this again sometime.
Sounds
Rapid
good.
fire the reverse way. All right, let's get into the Final Four. Not the Frozen Four. The Final Four, which you got some good beer drinking schools at the Final Four. Illinois, UConn, Michigan, and Arizona, obviously, as we've heard people talk about. The national championship game is the second national semifinal game, which I think is a load of horse bleep.
Yeah.
But here is where we lie. So we'll start with UConn in Illinois, and it's a rematch from a game that they played earlier this season that UConn was victorious in. What are your first thoughts when you think about this matchup? And we've seen the body of work of both of these teams throughout the tournament. I've got a stat that maybe will sway you. It doesn't sway me. But it was an interesting stat that I saw today. First thoughts, Illinois and UConn.
Well, I mean, you got big shot Braylon here leading this UConn team into the final, but don't sleep on Terrace Reed, who has averaged nearly 22 points in this tournament. And Keaton Wagler's been fantastic for Illinois. Like, he is just shooting the lights out right now. So the UConn the UConn Huskies showed me something in that comeback against Duke, because I didn't even have UConn getting past the second round. I thought that they were damaged goods and not great, but they showed me something against Duke. But then in the back of my mind, dude, I keep hearing you and Max saying that if any team could steal this national title this year, it is the Fighting Illini.
Love this dude, man. He's not bullshitting either. He is probably literally in an attic right now watching the show. That's dedication right there. All right, I'll give you the stat here in a second. And I need to course correct us on something, because I don't know why I started doing this, and I felt horrible because the kid is a fantastic player. Keaton Wagler. We, and me specifically, started calling him Wagler a couple weeks ago. So my apologies,
my
Keaton.
fault.
Well, I mean, do as I say, not as I do. I don't think you can take anything from when they did play in November, because Petrovic played more minutes in that game than Wagler did. And Jalen Stewart logged 24 minutes in a start for UConn, and Braylon Mullins only played 10 minutes off the bench. And I will credit our guy Stucky on action for pointing that part out. So, and again, we know this, like, and we kind of talked about it on a potential like Arizona-Florida rematch from when they opened the season against each other in Vegas. Like, I think you can take a little bit from conference play. Like, if we were to get Illinois and Michigan in the championship game, I think you can take something from that, but you can't really take anything from this. And I've talked about the Illinois side of this quite a bit. They're young. Their average height is 6'6". They're one of the biggest teams in the country. Obviously, we know about Andrei Stojakovic and what he's capable of, but it's a team that can beat you in so many different ways. I love Brad Underwood, his journey, what he's been able to do with this team. The lights are either going to be too bright, or like we talk about with a lot of these young teams all the time, they're too dumb to know. And I mean that in a positive way. There's no muscle memory there. Oh, shit, I just turned the ball over. Big friggin' deal. You're also playing a behemoth that is in the perfect role for them when it comes to playing in a Final Four in UConn, who is fully used to this. And I get it. The knock is, or the argument to the other side of the UConn thing, and Charles Barkley pointed this out the other day, is that, hey, none of these guys have really played in a Final Four other than Alex Karaban. He's true with on the court guys, but this is an entire staff that knows exactly how to get to media, to get to practice, how to keep their kids from being distracted. That's the part you have to factor into this. I think this game is going to be absolutely fantastic. You mentioned Terrace Reed. The dude just continues to wow every single time he's on the floor. I think he's honestly been the most underrated player of this tournament. Here's something that might make you think a little bit different before we make some picks here. And this was actually kind of fascinating from Reddit College Basketball, Reddit Degenerate 96. Great name, by the way. The team that eliminates Duke is cursed. Every year dating back to 2018, the team that beats Duke in the NCAA tournament goes on to lose the very next game. Well done job here, because he cites sources. 2018, Kansas beats Duke in the Elite Eight, loses to Nova in the Final Four. 2019, Michigan State beat Duke. They lost to Texas Tech. 2020, COVID. 2021, no Duke. North Carolina over Duke in the Final Four. They lost in the championship game to Kansas. Sorry to our boy Billy V for bringing that one up. Tennessee beat Duke, then they lost to FAU. NC State beat Duke, then they lost to Purdue. Houston beat Duke, and obviously, as we know last year, then they went on to lose to Florida. Does that sway you any different way on this? Because there's a lot of people on the Illinois side of this that still think UConn kind of shot their best shot on Braylon Mullins' Rainmaker to get them here, and that they're probably going to be done.
I think it's going to be a fantastic game. The matchups are going to be incredible. I can't wait to see what Illinois brings, not the first five, but the bench. I can't wait to see what Illinois brings with that. But I think that win against Duke galvanizes this UConn team, and I'm picking UConn to win a close one.
From an addict, dude. Dedication. We talk about FOPs and some of our day oneers and everything else. Yeah, I mean I can totally see that.
That would be fun.
Well, and the other thing too he brings up there, and obviously we're going to give you who we think's playing on Monday night before we get out of here, and who's going to win the whole thing. But one of the best games I've ever seen in the tournament, if you jog your memory bank back to 2005 in the Elite Eight, Arizona and Illinois, we know how that one ended up. That was a fantastic game. I am baffled by the fact that I was able to grab UConn at 7-1 on Monday morning to win the national championship. We're going to get to the Arizona Michigan game, obviously, here next. I think I do. I'm with you that as much as I love this Illinois team, and I have all year, and I think this is going to be a banger of a frigging game. The people that are shooing it away, and there's a lot of people, dude, that are not even going to watch this game because Arizona Michigan's the national championship game. And I understand the conceptual part of that. This is going to be an absolutely great game. You've got two fantastic coaches. You've got two very well-rounded teams, two very tough teams. I can't wait to see this, but I am also going with the Huskies in this one. Let's go to the other one, the national championship game.
Before you jump into that, I turned that Royals game on, and is that just water from the fountains that's all over the camera there? Because that looks horrendous.
It's water and dirt, and it sucks because the forecast for this game was that the winds were supposed to be blowing all out, and we've got winds blowing out to like right center, and then winds coming in from center that are blowing like this way out to left. Like that camera has been cleaned off, I think, 57 times in this game. Cole Reagan's update, pitch 65, top of the fifth inning. It is 1-0 Twins. He's still on the 5 strikeout mark, so we need one more, Cole. One more, baby.
That's what I'm waiting for.
That camera shot, dude, that camera, I think, has... There's been several shots in this game, just side-eyeing it here in the studio, that the only thing I can see when the pitch is coming in is the pitch box and where the pitch landed, because the camera just constantly has to be wiped off. It's miserable there right now.
Yeah.
Michigan, Arizona. Arizona, a 1.5-point dog in this game. Obviously, two teams that I think body of work from start to finish this season have proven that they are the two best teams in the country. I don't think any of us are surprised that they're playing in this game. I don't think any of us are shocked to see this, and I don't think anybody else would be shocked. Any of us would be shocked to see the winner of this game win the national championship.
Nope.
That being said, this is a very interesting matchup because you've got two teams that have tremendous size and know how to use their size very effectively. First thing that you think about when you think about Michigan and Arizona, and then I'll tell you the dumbest thing you can do while you're watching this game on Saturday.
I have a feeling I'm going to be doing one of those dumb things while I watch it, but
Jesus,
it's the guard play for Arizona is what I think of first, because those guards are freaking incredible. Braden buries buckets, and Jaden Bradley's just been incredible this year. I'm kind of like, when you started getting those Arizona feelings about those tournament vibes, and Arizona has been like 97, and then ever since then it's been just a round of disappointment after disappointment after disappointment. I get the feeling that this is the team that could put all those disappointments to bed.
It's a dangerous game to play. That's for damn sure, because and we've talked about it all year with Arizona. Like, do we really feel like this is the Arizona team to do it? And when you look at it, like from an offensive and defensive standpoint, they're basically even offensively. Michigan's slightly better, 19th percentile to the 30th percentile for Arizona defensively. Now they're cleaning up the mound in front of Cole Reagan's here. Always good for delays late in the game.
Just 1K. We just need one.
I know, just one damn K. Can we clean up the mound for him? We're trying to win a bet here. I mentioned this to Mac the other day. Ironically, that I found a defensive point from the game the other day against Purdue from Arizona beating them. Arizona's guards are definitely better than Michigan's guards. And what Arizona's guards do so effectively is they can break down, whether you're playing a zone, whether you're playing man, they break down the top line of your defense so well that it just becomes kind of lob city for those guys to throw it up to Pete and Toby Waka and the rest of the gang for Arizona. I think Michigan's guards have to play their best defensive game in this one to stop that breakdown. Arizona's not a three-point shooting team. We've seen that. They don't take a lot of threes, and they get kind of that whole vice grip situation, and when they decide, hey, it's time to turn it on, they turn it on, which makes this game extremely volatile for me because Michigan's ability to shoot the three and hit the three, I think, is a very big difference maker in this game. Because if they force Arizona into a situation where they're going to have to start shooting threes at an uncomfortable level for them, I think that's bad news for the Wildcats. And I said this last night, and I will say it again. You can tell me that Tommy Lloyd, and Tommy Lloyd can tell me that he is 1,000% focused on what's going on. And I do believe that. Tommy Lloyd's a fantastic coach, came up under Mark Few at Gonzaga. I think he is focused. But his players are hearing all of this too. And we're talking about 19, 20, 22-year-olds, whatever the case may be, a little bit older now in today's current age of college basketball. But I think there's enough of a distraction there that makes me concerned a little bit for the Wildcats. And if Michigan can force them into having to shoot the three ball, that's not a good thing for Arizona. And Arizona, in that case, I think could get wiped out in this game if they're forced into a three-point shooting game. That's going to be the key. Can Michigan's guards defend the top line of the defense and not let it go into Lob City there? And again, two guys I've talked about all year long with Arizona that I think have really propelled this team to another level is Ivan Karchenkov and Anthony Del Orso. I think Anthony Del Orso is another one of those guys who's extremely underrated for what he does for the Wildcats. I think the ceiling for Michigan is way higher because of the three. And I think if Arizona puts themselves in a position where they got to start shooting threes, which is not their forte, not something they like doing, this one could get sideways on the Cats pretty quick.
Yeah, and that's going to be disappointing for all those people who think that this is the national championship game. And you're like, yeah, it's the 1990 national championship game when UNLV beat Duke by 30 points.
Right, and that's one of those things that I could see. I think if it's a blowout on the Michigan side. I don't think that's going to happen. But that would be a grave concern for me because the other thing we know, and this could neutralize Michigan shooting, is they're playing this game at Lucas Oil Stadium. Your shooter's backdrop is not a great eyeball shot there. And we see it all the time, even when one of the best systems that I found through the guys at Action this year is all those games that get played off campus and in like Madison Square Garden, the United Center, the big NBA arenas. You typically like to bet those games under because it is a completely different thing. When you're at Duke, for example, and you're shooting at Cameron, those fans are like right on top of your ass right there. When you're shooting in a football stadium, which like the viewpoint is horrible for shooters, so that could neutralize it there. Make a pick. It's a tough one.
This is going to be fun, and I'm going to take the Wildcats because I have a feeling that this just might be their destiny this year.
It's a sound theory. However, I've lived in Arizona long enough and I've watched this happen long enough, and I don't believe in the destiny for the Wildcats, and I do think the Tommy Lloyd thing is a distraction. And I do think because of the variance in the three-point shooting that is something that gets Arizona in trouble in this game. So I will lay the points and take Michigan here. I will not be watching the Fab 5 alt cast during Michigan-Arizona following Game 1, the other game in Indy, on True TV and HBO Max. They are getting together the original Fab 5 from Michigan to do an alt cast during a Michigan-Arizona game. Do you have any interest in watching that? Because I absolutely do not.
No, and conspiracy theorists would say that means that Michigan is going to beat Arizona because they will have to pay them for a second game, the national championship game. Although me, being a contrarian, would say that they're going to lose because the Fab Five were really good at calling timeouts when they didn't have any.
Oh. Still not too soon. Never a bad joke there.
And no shade to Chris Webber, who literally saved basketball in Sacramento.
Absolutely. All right. I got a question for you. It just made me think of this. Who is more deplorable to listen to hype their former school, Jalen Rose or Michael Irvin?
Ooh.
That's the question of the day. You thought rapid fire was done, baby.
Oh.
Cole Reagan, 6th strikeout on a slider.
Yes. I'm going to say Michael Irvin because he the things that he was doing on the sidelines during that little run by Miami were just like I was just like, can you just go look at yourself for a minute and see what kind of fool you're acting? I mean, like,
Vegas Mac just got his Reagan's update for me. So we are one way through our crossing streams. Next up, 2-7-10 starts. Macklin Celebrini for 2 points. I had to pivot today because I couldn't get an over-underline on Donovan Klingen's point, rebounds, and assists. Mm-hmm. So I went with the other guy that we were talking about in that same vein for the Blazers last night, Denny Avia. Points, rebounds, and assists. We need 41 as they play the Pels tonight in Portland. Cole Reagans gets it done. Jesus, Mac. We might have to change the name.
Oh, Jesus.
My stream has crossed.
That's not the only thing that's crossed there, big guy.
This is a good question because I know there was some heat there. I might actually have to turn it on now just for my humor for a couple of minutes just to see if they fight each other. That might be worth watching. But
I'm interested to hear what King and Jackson have to say.
Yeah, the other two guys that were there that nobody freaking talks about. Whoever just tried to steal second for the Twins got incredibly aggressively tagged on his head first slide into second with his helmet down in front of his face and has a bloody nose.
Awesome. Baseball, non-contact sport.
Slide feet first. It's safer. You get there faster. Shut up.
No fun.
You dolts. All right, let's get in some liquid locks for tonight. I'm pretty sure I know that you're going to go to the ice. We actually have a decent schedule. Yeah, here we go. Get this one out here. There's the ultimate answer. Definitely Jalen Rose, definition of dumb jock. Michael Irvin, still high from the 90s Coke.
Man, he's going to be high until like he's 90 at this rate.
Latest projection, speaking of mock drafts that we were talking about earlier, because this one's not going to make Michael Irvin any more annoying. Ruben Bain projected to go
to the Dallas Cowboys. Oh, great. That's just what we need is those two together. I love Ruben Payne, though. That guy's awesome. So
I know. I just wouldn't wish the Cowboys on Ruben Bain.
Yeah, that's true.
It is what it is. Liquid locks. What do you got for me tonight?
I'm going to the ice. I am definitely betting the same thing in the crossing stream. So I'm taking Max Celebrini over 2 points. But I'm also taking the over in the San Jose Toronto game. I believe it is at 6.5 right now because you've got Stolars and Nedeljkovic. And Stolars did not look great the other night against Anaheim. He made a couple of stops when he had to in overtime, but he still gave up 4. And Nedeljkovic, he's kind of an adventure in goal at times. So I could see this one going over. And I've also got Chicago and Edmonton, the over at 6.5. No Draisaitl still, but when these teams get together, it's almost like Bedard and McDavid are tit for tat with each other.
I like it. I'm going to go into a well that has not been very profitable for me tonight, but I do like the potential of both of these plays. The Mets, who played like absolute ass in losing their series to the Cardinals. Best tweet I saw yesterday, man. If O'Neal Cruz was wearing sunglasses, the Mets would have no wins and only 10 runs on the season. I think Juan Soto against Robbie Ray tonight. I like Juan Soto to put one in McCovey Cove. And then I'm going to go to Chase Field, the home of the Arizona Diamondbacks, where Ryan,
don't
call me Ryan. Ryan Nelson is on the bump for the Diamondbacks with a stellar ERA of 7.71. You know
Oof.
how I feel about the Diamondbacks bullpen, so I love the possibilities tonight for Ronnie Acuna. I want one in the pool from Ronnie Acuna. I want one in the cove from Juan Soto. I'm going to play a couple homers tonight. I'm throwing that out there. I love the Acuna one. Bullish a little bit on the Soto one, but my other play for tonight, you basically have the same thing. It crosses into our stream. I'm playing celebrating for 2 points in the Sharks Toronto game over 6.5 because Sharks games most of the time go over 6.5. Last night took us to the final $1.44, but we got there.
Yes,
so
we did.
That's what I'm going with. And I said it. We're going blind. This guy in this, we're going to have to change the damn segment. He's not going to get off of this. We're going blind. So tomorrow I said it's like opening day part 72 because of all the home openers that still need to be played. It was a perfect day with a full slate of games, a lot of day games, which typically tends to be most of the time a little bit better for hitting home runs. Unless you're in Kansas City right now in the middle of a freaking tornado or whatever the hell is going on. We're bringing back dollar dingers. So Mac's not with us today. And he's going to the Guardians home opener. I do not like this pick at all. And I kind of told him that last night when we were talking about this. But we're going to go with it because it'll definitely jack up the pay on this thing. Because Mac is going with Nico Horner to homer against the Guardians in the Guardians home opener. If he does it, he'll do it off of Joey Cantillo, the starting pitcher, left-hander from Honolulu, Hawaii, for the Guardians. So he's going with Nico Horner of the Cubs at Cleveland. I am going to go, and this is totally going to shock you, but why the hell would I not play this tomorrow? Because my boy, one of my two MLB man crushes, Mike's man crush, Bryce Harper, and the Philadelphia Phillies play a day game in Colorado against the Rockies, making their home opener. Michael Lorenzen on the bump for the Rock Bottoms. Bryce Harper to hit a home run at the original Coors Field. Now, are you going to go to Coors Field of California for yours?
I am, because you can't argue with the powerful start to the year of Shea Langoliers, 5 home runs the first week of the season. That is equated to 5 losses for the Sacramento Nomads. But we're not here to count wins and losses. We're here to count home runs. And I'm going with coffee, beer, and Bangaliers.
We will post that on our social pages tomorrow morning, just like we did crossing streams this morning. So as soon as we are able to make that, we will throw that out there. But I guarantee you, with Nico Horner on there, it is going to pay quite the pretty penny if we can pull it off. Remember, we've done 2 out of the 3 several damn times. Shohei Ohtani, statistically for us, is the guy that has screwed us on the third leg more than any other player since we've done that. For those of you new to the show, it's $1 on each guy, $1 for all 3 of them. It's a $4 investment. If you get one of them, you at least get your money back. If you get Nico Horner is the only one tomorrow, you're probably going to get 10 times your money back, because I'm going to guess he's probably going to be $8.50 to hit a homer, because he's not a homer guy. But in the jet stream of the new progressive field, screw that, in the new Jake, with the modifications that they've made, if there's a place to do it. At least he's not trying to say Nico Horner at Wrigley Field in a day game, because then I would have him cross his stream into a cup and hand it to the lady in the lab coat there. You mentioned Shea Langoliers, our boy. 5 home runs for Shea Langoliers. That is more home runs than the New York Mets, Minnesota Twins, San Francisco Giants, San Diego Padres, and Detroit Tigers have hit this year. It is actually more home runs than the Padres, Giants, and Tigers combined have hit this year.
Yeah, I mean, he had an incredible series in Toronto, so we'll see if that holds up. And man, that field in Sacramento is just a bandbox, so I don't see why not. Let's put some money on that and see what happens.
That was definitely on my hit list of things to watch right now. Funny thing developing in Mike versus Mac right now. Will Zalatoris, my long shot, Mac's long shot, his boy Mav McNeely, both T2 at 5 under, 1 behind Tony Finau. Speaking of Tonys, are you ready? Because you have 2 consecutive weeks of golf picks starting next week, because we have Augusta and then we have a signature event. And as we have deemed you this year's signature event, TJ. You are. Are you ready for 2 straight weeks of golf picks, my friend?
Well, after Saturday, I'm going to go into the bunker for a couple of days and do some research. And I should be able to come back next week with very, very profitable picks.
And if you've missed it before, TJ has a theme that he follows with his picks, and you'll laugh at it. But actually, TJ, if he was in this full competition right now, would be pretty damn close to Mac for the top of the leaderboard. I don't know how I would describe my start to the golf season this year other than shitty. Really shitty.
But it's a long season. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So we got plenty of time.
I just want to see 3 guys that don't miss the cut this week. We'll take that and we'll go, because I know I've got a winner and I've got a T10 and I've got a T20 in my Augusta lineup for next week. And Mac has no idea, and I think it's actually starting to bother him right now because he wants to know. But until he tells us who the best pitcher on the Pirates is going to be this year, I'm not going to tell him. He says he's going to tell me next Tuesday. I think he's full of crap.
It's Mitch Keller. Just get it out of the way. It's Mitch Keller. Come on.
That's who I think it is. I think it's Mitch Keller too, but he won't tell me. Any final words from you on your go home show this week, as well as mine, because there's no show tomorrow? Everybody have a happy and safe holiday weekend. Drink a lot of beer. If you can find time to watch the other tune-up game in Indianapolis, the non-national championship game between Illinois and UConn, find time for that. I will be heavily cracked by about 11:30 Pacific time on Saturday, drafting baseball players and screwing with other people in my league, because that's one of my national pastimes. I just like messing with these guys.
That sounds like a winning weekend to me. I may have something lined up for Saturday, but I don't want to jinx it yet. So I will let you know as it happens. Mm-hmm. If it happens.
Traveling tea?
Could be.
Are you going to show up here? We're going to party?
The travel is not scheduled to go east.
Oh. You have to follow us on our social channels at Mike Arana Show. Sign up for the newsletter, MikeAranaShow.com/links. We will be back with you in full fold next week. Back to 4 shows next week. And then I don't know why I'm doing this Masters week, but it's time to be done. We are actually moving the studio to a different part of the house next week. So a little more natural light for my glowing, beautiful face, and heavy lifting that I'm too old to friggin' do.
That's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it works out for you.
Yeah, not very well. All right, for everybody behind the scenes, for T, for Mac, I'm Mike. Have a great friggin' weekend. Enjoy a loaded sports April. Back with you Tuesday, all weekend through our social channels at Mike Arana Show. By now, you know the drill. We'll talk with you on Tuesday.